Welcome back to Sci-Fi Book Trek. Today we'll be doing spoiler review for the first Heretic, a Warhammer 40k book. But first, summary.
The story begins in Monarchia, the perfect city. We're introduced to Serene. The perfect city is then destroyed by blue men from the sky. Following the destruction, our viewpoint changes to the Wordbearers Legion, who are responding to the distress call. They are then called down to the planet, where they are then forced to kneel in the dirt in the ruins of their perfect accomplishment, and then Daddy tells them,
"He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy!"
Lorgar's told by the Emperor that he's a massive disappointment, then tells him he's going to have babysitters because he can't be trusted to do what is right.
Hello to you, little kitten.
And as I'm reading, all I'm getting is the impression of Red Foreman from that 70s show.
The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Doesn't go quite as far as putting the grown man over his knee and spanking him in front of his miserable ultra smurf older brother, but comes pretty close. In the aftermath, Argyltal is ready to return to the ship with his brothers, but he happens to find a slightly used blind prostitute in the ruins and decides to take it home with him and share it with his brothers. Lorgar returns home to brood.
At which point he decides, well, if Daddy's not God, I'm going to find God.
His adopted daddy tells him, "Actually, son, I've known it all along that the Emperor was a bad one, and we should hail Satan instead."
Because I get power, and the demon rewards me! Hail Satan to Sherman.
So they go on a pilgrimage, which is apparently an ancient thing and not made by religions just trying to sell merchandise. And so they decide we're going to separate our fleet and go across the known universe and out into the vast expanse and search forever, if need be, for God.
A few moments later.
We pick up the story 3 years later at the edge of the Eye of Terror. Argyltal has been possessed by a demonic presence. The story then jumps back a short period of time to tell us how this happens.
Flashback.
We find Lorgar has been drawn to a world by a psychic scream echoing his name.
Oi, cunt.
The party land and are met by primitives wearing pelts of human skin, similar to the locals in Tipton. A local girl called Ingathel tells them that their coming was prophesized and welcomes them to the planet of Cadia. Is that significant? I don't fucking know, because you're probably reading this as the first book and have no idea where Cadia actually fits into the lore.
They go to the tribal city. Of course, we don't see that because it just skips over that part and goes to a tribal ceremony which happens a few months after they've been talking to these savages.
This most profane ritual is to talk to the gods of the warp, in which there is human sacrifice and a young teenage girl dancing naked. So exactly like Tipton. The final sacrifice is the watching custodian Vendatha, who is impaled, still alive, onto a spear.
Which no one saw coming.
This results in the girl transforming into a hideous demon. The demon then tells Lorgar that he has to take some of his sons and travel into the Eye of Terror to know the full truth. And reluctantly, Lorgar accepts this and sacrifices Argyltal and the Seventh Company.
Get in the Ava.
Argyltal tells Lorgar of the visions he's shown to him by the demon, but in actual fact the visions are reality, and the group of warriors find themselves displaced in time.
Right, Scott!
At a point where the Primarchs are flung into the void of space to the far reaches of the galaxy by the actions of the Wordbearers themselves.
Snake, what have you done? You changed the future. You've created a time paradox.
We skip ahead 40 odd years and a new character is introduced, Ishak, who is from the Remembrance Order, and he feels like he's out of a different book and universe entirely.
heresy.
And we follow him around going, why? Why? Why?
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
And then he meets up, well, he sees Tal, and then it's all from his point of view again. And Ishak falls into the background.
That was useful.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Argotal and the custodian Aquilian are fighting side by side in a battle to quell a non-compliant world. Having spent 40 years together, they seem to be working effectively as a unit. There's a brief moment when the possessed members under the command are incapacitated by a awakening of the demon inside them, but they rally are victorious. Then, this event is explained by grave news. Horus has rebelled against the Emperor.
So they all get on a ship and start flying towards where Horus is made a base.
Istvan 5.
Yes, and what everyone thinks they're planning to do is go and kill Horus. But they're actually in league with Horus, and all the other people coming in are mostly in league with Horus as well. So they can land and start killing the people who are already there trying to kill Horus.
I can get me a handful of day laborers to help hold down
Horus
while I shut his rocket.
In actuality, this event in lore is described as the Drop Site Massacre and is supposed to be one of the most significant points during the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, also, in this book, apparently no Primarch died, because it doesn't mention it. They apparently all got away.
I watched you die. Nope. Never happened. But nope.
The demons within the Word Bearers are unleashed, and they transform into bestial forms that tear apart the Loyalists. They are then attacked by another Primarch, Chorus Corax, an Edgar Allan Poe enthusiast who really liked The Raven.
Are you some dark-winged messenger from beyond? Answer me, monster. Tell me truly.
Lorgar then enters the fray and fights a duel with the goth-looking bastard. He then realises, that's a really bad idea. Lorgar's nearly killed in the battle with his pale-skinned brother, but is saved by some timely intervention by another traitor Primarch. The battle's all but over, the traitor legions return to the ships, but Aquilian has heard of the betrayal by the Word Bearers and decides, I'm gonna fuck up Argotal's girlfriend, so decides to track down Serene and murder her.
Also, this is where Ishak comes back in, just to show the custodian, oh look, I've took a photo.
I got your picture, I'd like a million of your aura myself.
This means they're heretics, right, yeah? Then, the custodian, with all the 4 custodians, run to Serene and try to kill her or beat information out of her. Probably a bit of both.
Between this little gal's love taps. Seriously. Maybe see if your daddy'll give you a roll of nickels.
Argyltar and his Crimson Brothers land, get out, go, oh no, we have to save her. Rush immediately there. Don't meet the the custodians, because somehow they've left her, and they go back to the dropship and get on a. So one of them's going a roundabout way. Don't know.
They somehow miss each other in their journey to the same hangar.
Yes. So Argyltar gets to the Blessed Lady and goes, oh, I see she's dead. Picks her up, goes, oh no, she's still breathing. To say one word, say a few words, then fall over dead again.
As is the truth.
Yeah, and then he goes, ah.
Yes, he gets a narc on, decides to follow Aquilian down to the planet, at which point they shoot down the Thunderhawk gunship that they're in. They find the crash-landed custodians and decide to do battle with them in one final brawl. At which point, Argyltar just goes, fuck honor. And that's about where it finishes.
Yeah. So hope you're the wiser. Because as a first time reader, like, okay, I guess stuff happened. Anyway.
Shall we go on to loves and hates?
Yes. It feels like this could have been done with 3 short stories rather than a book of this length.
It is 3 short stories.
Well, yes, it is. There are characters in it who have no right being in it because nothing's done with them.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly annoying that parts of it, characters are sort of set up as big things. Nothing, there's no payoff at all. Another thing I'm kind of dislike is at the start, all Tal's just going, he's like, oh, you see that banner? And then we get like a paragraph about, oh, the symbol on that banner. And then maybe Logar steps 1 step forward. Oh, you see that banner? Let me tell you about this. And it's just like, tell me a bloody story. This feels like a lore dump, which goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And is utterly worthless and useless.
Yeah.
No, but once you get past that, it does start settling down into a story. And it starts being readable and good.
Mm. Yeah, it has got a bit of a crust on the front, but I would say it's a lot less heavy than something like Revelation Space. At least from my perspective. Go and watch that video.
That far, but yeah.
Go and watch that video if you haven't already.
I like Revelation Space. It explained the world and the universe. This does not.
I worry, or I wonder, rather, whether it's a case of that. Oh yeah, those answers, they're in this book.
Yes.
Pay another $7.99 for this book.
Money.
The more it went on, the more I was like, yes, I'm pretty much sure the answers are somewhere else. Because it started to feel like this was filling in the holes of a story that's already been told.
Mm.
And this is just fleshing out little details and like little questions people might have. But rather than telling an actual cohesive story onto itself.
But you're a comic book enthusiast.
Of sorts, yes.
Yeah, but you are at least used to having that element of serialization and sometimes it being, oh, this is in a different series. You might like to read that series.
Well, yes. But also, like, with us sci-fi work, with books as well, I don't mind being dropped in at the deep end and expected to swim.
Yeah.
Like, you were a big fan of when Philip K. Dick did that. But no, it's stuff like that. I don't mind being dropped in at the deep end. If you're going to tell me stuff.
Yes.
This doesn't. It drops you in and then it just wanders away and leaves you to like just tread water going, okay, what am I supposed to do now?
I mean, for me, personally, I do feel like it is too small. But like you say, it's also too big at the same time. It's 3 stories, 3 short stories that definitely feel part of a bigger world. But you could have done this as 3 smaller, more condensed sort of...
It feels like you could do it 3 short stories.
Yeah.
In like probably half.
It doesn't make sense to put them together in this way.
Yeah.
And like you say, to have the character of Ishak, for instance, I completely forgot he was in it. Yeah. And to have him
gets
suddenly...
no conclusion whatsoever. Don't know what happens with him.
Yeah.
I mean, Tal says he's going to, like, find the person responsible and kill him. But we don't know what happens. Because there's another time skip at the end of the book, isn't there?
Yeah, just before they're about to...
Yeah. So, it's just... Yeah, okay, sure.
Is there anything that you did like about it?
Some of the character development I did like. You know, Tal questioning whether his loyalty is inbuilt or genetically imprinted.
Or whether it's his own...
Yeah. Cyrene believing, like becoming a devout believer. Logar, I didn't really care for much. I wouldn't want harm to come to him, but I also just wouldn't pay him any attention.
Mm.
In that way, I'm kind of like the Emperor. Just don't really care for him. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, you whatever.
See, this is the thing. I actually kind of liked the character of Logar. I don't think he's necessarily...
I mean, he comes across some better than some of the other Primarchs.
Oh, yeah.
In the book. Because some are just complete and total. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he's characterized as someone that is trying his best. And the thing is, he's doing so much that he's not a fighter. He just wants to create pretty things. He desperately wants to create pretty societies, pretty civilizations. He wants to create beautiful cities. He's not a fighter.
Well, he's not a warrior, he's a priest.
Yes. But that's the thing. Everything that he has done to try and make his father proud of him.
Who he believes is a god.
Yes, but he's done this for 100 years. Without any word to dissuade him from this fact. And then all of a sudden, bloody dad comes in, kicks his sandcastle down and goes, "No! Bad Logar! No biscuit!" He's then taken advantage of by someone, like I say, his adopted father and Erebus.
Yeah.
They basically whisper poison in his ear and, like, turn him down a dark path, which you can completely understand. He's not a character that has decided to be evil for evil's sake. He's trying to find something to believe in. And
when he finds something he can't explain, he just goes, "Must be a god."
Yeah. But again, whether that's a shortcoming of his genetic, you know, like with Argoltal, it's a shortcoming of his genetic makeup that he's so desperate to believe in something, and when his faith in the Emperor is so badly shaken, he has to latch onto something else. I mean, I like the conversation. One of the things that I did actually like about this book is the conversation that he has with Magnus. Two brothers who genuinely have close affection for one another, who are talking and they are trying, you know, Logar is desperately trying to work something out, trying to find some sort of purpose, some sort of way forward after having the proverbial shit kicked out of him.
And like, I agree with you, that is a good scene and that is good. However, Magnus does not come back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure at some point they have more conversations. It's just, it'll be in another book. So, therefore, it can't be in this book again, or, like, rehashed or something.
Well, exactly. And the fact that Magnus actually does become one of the traitor legions. And again, that's not covered in this book.
No.
Or at least I don't think it's described.
No. Magnus just falls out, as soon as he, like, teleports up and smashes the greenhouse. Yeah. He's out of the story.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Only other point that I quite like in this one was, weirdly enough, the fight with Corvus. And I think this is probably where you're going to disagree with me. I like the characterization, at least with Logar. He knows he's not a fighter. He's not a warrior by any sense of the word.
But he's going to save his troops.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I quite like that characterization, even though he knows he's probably going to his death. He still can't stand by and watch his sons getting wiped out by this goth motherfucker.
I would probably have liked that more if I didn't already know going in that both those characters are still alive.
Perhaps that's the problem with having too much prior knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, and that was just something I just came across. Like I said, I know very little. Let's move on to nitpicks, shall we?
one thing that I will say before we go properly into the nitpicking section is that this is based on, again, knowledge of the lore that I believe is accurate. It's knowledge that I know. But the problem with 40k is that they change the lore on a whim. There are literally books that have been completely retconned out of existence just because it doesn't fit the storyline that they're now going for. I mean, at some point, it's perfectly feasible that this might be retconned out of existence as a book entirely and just consigned to, you know, oh yeah, well that was hearsay, and that's the way that Games Workshop like to do it. Is that if it doesn't fit in with the lore anymore, it's like, oh well, it was a faulty, you know, it was a faulty account from a different time. It doesn't factor in anymore.
As for me, most of my nitpicks are just the book falling over itself and like.
All right, well, you start because I want to see.
I mean, I could go into pilgrimage being not like a that ancient of like religious thing.
There's fault.
But I won't. I won't fall down that hole. I'll just point it out. The big problem for me is when they go into the warp. Now, do you want to put any nitpicks before I go into the big one?
No, but the problem is you go because I know where this is. I think I know where this is
okay,
going.
they go back in time, apparently, and it's not fully stipulated whether they're back in time or they're seeing a vision. However, they're told not to, like, really interact with anything because they'll be noticed.
Yeah.
So it gets a sense that they're going back in time. Then they also sever some cables, so interact with this event.
Yes.
So that would send, in a sense, being they're going back in time.
Yep.
Now, the entity, like
Ingerthel is ascended.
Yes, the ascended is telling them, oh, well, we need someone to sever the cable to close this, what is it, the Gelchfield or something.
The Gellerfield.
The Gellerfield, because we can't get access to it. Yet we've put you inside it.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Because we can't get access to. It's like, what?
Yeah, that is actually one of my nitpicks.
How does that work? I know you're chaos gods, but to say you can't get access to something and then put 4 people in.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, was that your major?
That was a major nitpick for me. Yes, that was one of the things. Because like I say, with the context of the lore knowledge, the Gellerfield should have prevented that interference. And sending someone back in time, it creates the paradox, and without their interference, Lorgar wouldn't have been sent to Colchis to meet his adopted father, wouldn't have... Yeah, it turns into brain headache moment, and, you know, it's a predestination paradox, and it's never a good idea to put a predestination paradox. Never fuck with time travel. I think that's a cardinal bloody rule of most
it's also like
stories.
you couldn't even get away saying, you know, it's a multiverse thing.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't even explain it, how that works.
Yeah. It is a major issue, and it's one that, I mean, even
the only way I could work out was it is a vision. They aren't really back in time. And the Chaos Gods are just tricking them that they're hitting the cable when it accidentally exploded in reality. Or something like that. That's the only thing I could work it so it actually works. But yeah, have you got any other major nitpicks?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think we've already mentioned it. Lorgar is converting worlds. He's converting them to the Emperor's religion. Literally, he's been doing this for a century, and then all of a sudden, the Emperor basically goes, send the Ultramarines, blow up one of his prized possessions, and then force them to suffer embarrassment, kneeling in the dirt of this accomplishment, and then tell him, you're a bad boy. But Lorgar has only been doing this because he genuinely believes that the Emperor is worthy of praise, worthy of... It's like, I did my best, Daddy. I did my best. I brought you breakfast in bed. And the breakfast in bed, he's burnt the toast, and the juice is like sloshed over the thing. And instead of being like a, no, son, you've not done that particularly well, it's like, oh, son, you're a disgrace. I'm going to break the neck of your fucking puppy. It's like, you can't help but feel sorry for the poor guy.
Yeah. Right, I've got one more. When the
custodians
get shot down, it does mention their ship lands on, the 5th planet, crashes into a ruin, and has masonry fall on top of it and stuff. It's like, where's that? The ruins are on a different planet. Has that just been mixed up? Or is there ruins on this cold, frozen snowball?
I don't know, is the honest answer to that.
But for me, it was just like...
It kind of became part of like the whole action set piece.
Up,
Whether it was supposed to be the custodians crash landed on Istvan 4 or
5. It does say Istvan 5.
Maybe it was supposed to be 4 and there was a typo.
3, you mean?
Yeah.
No, it does say 5 specifically, and also it does point out on the other side of the world, they're burning the bodies from the battle.
From the drop site massacre,
yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, they know they're on fire, like it's not just a print error, a 5 instead of a 3, well, B instead of a I. It's something, I don't know, there's been a mix-up somewhere, or there's runes all over this frozen snowball. But anyway, that was the only other big problem I had. There were some other little niggling ones, but I'll skip them.
Yeah, the only other one that I've got is the idea that a custodian guard could be taken down when they do the sacrifice. Even with everything that is described there, the custodian guard is supposed to be better than Space Marines.
Yeah, that was a little niggling thing I had.
Yeah.
Was no, the custodian, he cuts through first of all, he tries to shoot the Primarch. So at that point, he's decided to kill Lorgar.
Yeah.
He's a heretic. He deserves to die. The bullets get blown up because of Tal. He then carves through 3 word bearers.
Yeah.
Points his stick at Lorgar again, then gives him a chance to surrender.
Yeah.
It's like, you've just shot him 3 seconds ago. You already you've literally pulled the trigger on whether he's a heretic and he should die.
Yes. And it's not
all
like
it
those
does
things...
is set oh, I'm giving time for someone to shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you should have just stabbed him. And we already know Lorgar could probably have survived at least a few slashes.
I mean,
yeah. Well, not then, but by the end of the book,
Yeah.
So it's like...
the thing is, bolters are not designed to wound, even with the amount of punishment that some of these characters can take.
Yeah.
These things are... it's like firing a fucking automatic rocket launcher.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He pauses. That's what I have objection to.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you've already decided.
You've already committed to his death. why are you stopping?
Yes.
And it's for the purposes of the story to then sideline him and...
Yeah, that just felt...
Yeah, it didn't feel earned. That was,
like,
that
I mean,
was silly.
I knew what was going to happen. I knew, like, he was going to end up on the spear at that point, no matter what. Which just, when he stopped and gave him a second chance, he was like, why?
It didn't make sense, no.
But yeah.
But anyway, I think that's what I've got.
Yeah, so we'll leave it as that for nitpicks, and we'll go on to final thoughts. I mean, I think we've mostly...
I think we've pretty much covered it in the non-spoiler review. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, it's definitely part of a larger world.
Yeah. Or it's filling in parts of a larger world.
Yeah. But it's like a 10,000 piece jigsaw when you've only got 20 pieces. And they're not even contiguous pieces.
Yeah.
It's like you've got 3 different sections of the fucking jigsaw.
Yeah, it feels like it could so easily just been 3 short stories. One from Sorini's point of view, one from probably...
Lorgo.
No.
Or Ishak.
Yeah, like Ishak for the third, and like just fleshed him out a bit more in what he's seeing. But who is it? Tal.
Yeah, Argon
Tal for the middle. And like him recounting what he saw in the warp. Like you could easily make these 3 short stories, cut out most of the fluff, because there's stuff which it's nice that it's there, and like if you're in the lore and you know about it, it's like, right, I see what they're doing. I see, you know, they're doing like a nod or wink to this. Like when he's seeing all the babies crash on the planets. It's like, I have no idea who any of these people are. And your basic description going, oh, well, he's white. He's on a planet with no light on it. It's like, I don't know who you're describing. If you want to know about Horus, in a Horus Heresy book, yeah, don't bother. He literally doesn't appear. The only mention you get of him...
Literal word.
Yeah.
Like, lip service.
It's just like, oh yeah, he's hiding behind that wall. See that wall there? Yeah, he's behind it, doing tactics.
Have we talked about Horus? Because no one can hate Horus. That's literally a line. No one can hate Horus. Everyone loves Horus. Why does he turn out to be the guy that...
Why does he betray? Don't know. What, like... There's like tens of thousands of questions. Because it seems like no one else believes in the Chaos Gods. No one else has like drunk the Kool-Aid. But they're all betraying the Emperor.
By the time you get to part 3...
Yeah, it's just like, what's going on? I don't understand. Like, why has everyone decided to betray the Emperor? I can probably guess.
I mean, I know, but that's the thing. That is not covered in this book.
No. I think that brings us to the end.
One thing I would like to say, actually, because we are recording this on the, what is it, the 25th of May?
Yep.
Happy Tau Day.
Oh, yes.
And with that in mind...
Yes, with that in mind, the book we will be reading next week is Douglas Adams' Restaurant at the End of the Universe, book 2 in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series.
See, you didn't even realise, and you'd pick the next book.
Yep.
That's cosmic level.
I was playing 4D chess.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
It's a 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. You've got 100 pieces, and the 25 pieces are from one corner of the map, 25 are from the centre of the jigsaw, There's another 25 which are completely in a different place altogether, and you can't even begin to see the picture. If you wanted an insight into the character of Lorgar, yes, okay, it's 75 pieces, yeah. If you wanted an insight into the character of Lorgar, okay, you're going to have to leave that in.
Yeah, I know. Also, there are 3 types of people in this world. Those who can count and those who can't.
There are 10 types of people in this world. Those who can count in binary and those who can't.